This meeting is being recorded.
Hey guys, I am Akush and with me is Advocate Vedicaa Ramdanee. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yes.
She's a first generation, that is a very big deal litigation lawyer working at Anantam Legal, and she has studied from Amity Law School and get this from IP, not from private one. And she's
Yeah.
a council member at WICCI. So let's start with that. What is that basically?
So WICCI, we call it WICCI. It's Women Industrial Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So
Okay.
there are different councils in different states, and I'm the council member in the Delhi Council. So in the Delhi Council, I am under mediation and dispute resolution.
Hmm.
So there we promote and project that how mediation and dispute resolution out of court settlement can be utilized more, because when you get into litigation, that's a very tedious process and it takes a lot of time. So of course, I
Sorry to
mean, if
interrupt.
you just
Can you explain to the audience like what is the difference between mediation and litigation?
Yeah, so litigation is when you go to court
Right.
to get your dispute resolved.
Right.
And mediation is when the parties sit together and there is a mediator. So mediator's job is basically that, okay, the parties sit together, amicable discussion,
Right.
and the mediator does not give a solution. The mediator simply is a facilitator that you put your points forth, and then it's like a counseling session, you can
Right.
say.
So you can give advice.
You
It's up
can
to
give
them.
advice, you can guide the parties, you can go on this tangent,
Right.
maybe that's going to help your cause. It's like that. So
So
it's
in,
not
yeah.
adversarial in nature.
So in Wiki, it's upon women's mediation, something
Yeah,
like.
so it's basically a women-oriented, like there is FICCI, there is Wiki. So it's like a women-oriented organization run by women and women members. So
Hmm.
there are different councils. So like in Delhi Council, the state of Delhi Council,
Yeah.
I am the member of mediation and dispute. So there are other councils as well.
Hmm.
So I am the part of the MDR, which is mediation and dispute resolution. So we promote that yes, parties should adopt more mediation and dispute resolution techniques instead of going to court.
So is there any advantage towards resorting to mediation instead of going to court?
Yes, because going to court is firstly very expensive.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's time consuming. And in mediation, you can have a healthy discussion.
Hmm. And if there is someone to facilitate, at least it can help.
Yeah. So it's not like, I mean, if you're a mediator and I'm a mediator, it's not like we will give a solution. We will not give a solution.
Okay.
We will just help the parties, that maybe we will present possibilities that this can happen so
Hmm.
that they can, think on those lines at least.
Right. And what is arbitration?
So arbitration, like in mediation, there is no panel. In
Right.
arbitration, you have an arbitral tribunal.
Okay.
So I won't say it is like litigation,
Hmm.
but arbitration has a panel. So in litigation, you pass a decree, you pass a judgment.
Hmm.
But in arbitration, you pass an award. So it is similar, but at the same time, it is called out of court settlement.
But it is binding.
So
Like the parties have to follow it.
yes, the award is binding
Yeah.
and you cannot challenge the award
Okay.
in court.
Right. So first, let's start with your experience as a lawyer. You are a litigator, right? So
Yeah.
what kind of cases do you usually come across in your day-to-day life?
So as of now, like the firm I am at, we
Yeah.
mostly get domestic violence, criminal cases, and some insolvency and bankruptcy cases. So
Hmm.
as of now, we are dealing with that. And as a lawyer, I would say that since I'm a first generation lawyer, so I was clueless. Let me,
Yeah.
I mean, clear that because I mean, I'm the 2020 batch, so there
Right.
was hardly any practical experience.
Mhm.
So when I got that, I was like in court. As an intern, your life is totally different. Okay, as an intern, you think you have learned and all, but when you go as a lawyer, there are so many untapped areas. There are so many areas which
Of
you
course.
think but they are not in the books. All these things you have to learn practically.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry, there was some internet connectivity issue. So
Yeah,
my question was, so you were talking about how hard it is to be a first generation lawyer, as well as especially from 2020 batch of COVID, like
Yeah.
practical experience. Yeah, so
So like I've seen people who have lawyers as parents, and also they do have an edge because you
yeah,
know when you're sitting at the dining table, यही conversation चल रही होती है पूरा time,
contacts.
and yeah, so that's a thing, you know. And as the first generation is this, and 2020 batch was like the worst. You did not have any court experience.
Of course.
So जो भी मिला experience, that was finally in 2021, and
Hmm.
that too for 3 to 4 months. Then Omicron happened. So
Hmm.
again, and so it's basically in installments and bits and pieces.
Right.
So there's a long way to go,
Right.
and yeah, that's what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is. It's fine. You'll make it. So, do you think that during COVID cases, offenses like domestic violence and cruelty have risen up because people are spending more time in the house?
Yeah, so statistics have shown
Yeah.
that domestic violence has increased. I think they have, there was a term also which was used with respect to this due to COVID, that domestic violence has increased. I don't really remember the term, but you know, when you say that idle mind is the breeding ground
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
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 So you can attribute it to that as well. I'm
Right.
not saying that, you know, when I'm idle, I will start hitting somebody,
Right.
but it does happen. It
But
has
those who
happened.
are more likely to, they will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, I think that is one of the reasons you can attribute it.
Okay. So when the court started opening up, how was your like experience there?
Good, like I like going to court. I mean, not for myself, but of course for the clients and all. I mean, it's an experience.
Right.
So our courts are not very, I mean, it's the Indian infrastructure, but had they made it better and all, it would have been good. Otherwise, I like going to court. So yeah, there's a rush, there's a passion. As
Yeah.
a litigating lawyer, you have to. So it's basically like I do my cardio by running in the corridors for
Right.
matters. So yeah, there's this adrenaline rush as a litigating lawyer.
So what do you think that the courts in the Indian system are lacking that may be worked upon, like as compared to say the UK legal system or US legal system?
सबसे पहले तो infrastructure. There is literally like, I mean, flooding happening in Tisazari courts when there is excess rain.
Flooding in the sense excess
Second-
cases.
Yeah, excess rain. There's flooding, like literally in the court premises, there is flooding.
Flooding, water
And
flooding.
yeah, like till knee level. This also came in the
What?
news. Yeah. This is in Tisazari.
Okay.
Like the only good courts I've seen are
Yeah.
Rouse Avenue, and Rouse Avenue takes up CBI matters.
Okay.
Saket District
Saket,
Court is a
right.
good.
I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
one of
a.
Asia's finest courts, right?
Which one?
Saket.
Yeah, that is a good court.
Yeah.
Supreme Court, of course, and Delhi High Court is also like the new building in Delhi High Court has like escalators and all. So
Right.
that new building is also good. But yeah, Tees Hazari is, I mean, it's literally like there is no record, and you know, the records are all like, I mean, apart from that, there should be like digitization, because they've just been like, you know, just stacked up files and
Right.
books, and Adha it's torn or like eaten by rats or something.
Yes. What if they
So
get
yeah,
misplaced? Like, what can you do then? Your case
you
is.
can't do anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you can't. And secondly, God forbid, if there is some natural disaster or anything, then what will you do? I mean, at least you have it in your cloud system or in a
Right.
drive or something. So yeah, these few things our system needs to work upon.
So there, actually, I read a case recently in this shooting in Karkaduma court of a judge. by a gangster?
It was in Rohini Court.
Rohini Court. Okay.
Yeah, it was in Rohini Court, yeah.
So that is also like
I
not good.
visited that court after the shooting, like not immediately after, but after a few days.
Yeah.
Still, there was.
I mean, if the judges aren't even safe, then how can the lawyers be
Yeah,
safe?
nobody is safe. Like I thought, it's going to be strict and everything in all the district courts. See, because High Court is strict, they see your card and everything. Supreme Court is very strict.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that after the shooting incident, district courts will also be strict. No, very callous attitude, I would say.
Especially since most of the people there are accused of heinous crimes.
Yeah. And I mean, like after that incident and the fact that people lost, like there was a life which was lost. So they should have been like more careful. But here, the situation remained the same.
Okay, so which one is like your favorite part, like drafting, litigation, and out of that?
See, drafting is there in, like, if you ask me what area, like where, if I would like to work in a corporate firm or would I like to go for litigation, I
What is
will
the
definitely.
difference basically between litigation?
So in a corporate firm, there are different departments. Like there is an arbitration department, there is a litigation department. So even if I join a corporate firm, I can definitely choose the litigation team. But in a corporate, it's more like you're stuck in a cubicle.
Right.
Like, all day you're on the screen. I'm not saying that you go to your workplace to party or anything, but there is no work-life balance. Of
Right.
course, here also in a litigation firm in chambers, when you have a lot of load, you have to dedicate your time. But I don't know, it's like you're in a box. Like people over there are just like, I'm not saying you don't earn money,
Right.
earn the money, but
Money
by
is
the
not
time
everything.
you earn that much,
Yeah,
till then you lost the you can say your youth to enjoy the money.
exactly. And I
Yeah,
heard that it is really stressful and not safe for women also.
very stressful. No, corporates, it's safe. Sunny, it is safe.
It is. Okay.
Yeah, corporate is safe.
Yeah. But like,
Litigation is rather not safe.
really?
Yeah. There are very many. I mean, I had an incident too with me. Like, I will not share that, but yeah, it happened with me in Patiala House Court. So litigation में तो काफी ज़्यादा, it's, you can say, creepy. So yeah, it's like that.
So in your experience as like a criminal lawyer, can you share some of the insights? Like how was it to visit the accused people, the victims, their families, and something about under trial
So,
prisoners?
under trial prisoners are not in a good state of affairs. So I visited jails and I met
Who
with the
are
under trial.
under trial prisoners? Like, can you
So
explain?
under trial prisoners are prisoners jinka trial hasn't started.
Right.
Only charge sheets have come. Investigation is over, and they are being kept in jail, and they haven't been released on bail. So this is before a framing of charges and before the trial commences. It is that stage. So during this stage, you can apply for bail, but that is on the court's discretion to give bail or not. Generally in criminal jurisprudence, it is a rule that it's called that the phrase is jail is an exception and bail is the rule. So normally in most of the cases you do get bail, but sometimes the charges are such which are quite severe, which hold a lot of punishment, like the quantum of punishment is quite a lot. So in those cases the court refrains from giving bail. So when I visited a jail and I've met with the under trials, you must have read very flowery and nice articles by the Supreme Court, speedy trial and prison system. So I could not see any of that. It was all just the written word.
Yeah.
It was just letter. It did not have any spirit.
Yeah.
And so it's like 60 to 70% of our prison population here is under trial prisoners. Some of them are not aware of their rights. Some of them are so illiterate that they do not know how to contact their families. Their families don't even know that a person is in jail. And there are so many formalities, like if X person is in prison and he wants to talk to his family, then the family has to submit a lot of documents just to get 5 minutes of call every day. So like get a postpaid number, submit an affidavit. How do you explain all of this to an illiterate person? And what do the lawyers do? They are minting money. They know that this person is not aware of the rights. They know that, whatever we say, they will agree.
Right.
So that way, it's a very sad state of affairs. Very, very sad state of affairs.
Especially
I'll be writing on it. Yeah. Like right now, I mean, I don't have the time, but after visiting, like for the first time, so I visited 2 jails, one the Central Jail and one Rohini.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not done. And even if like my writing, has no contribution, or even like one person or 2 people read it, I would do something at least.
How was your experience going and visiting people in the prison? How did you find the prison system?
Firstly, like you must have seen in movies, those big, big doors, gates.
Yeah.
So it's like that, you enter from a smaller door. So
Must
it was
be-
intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the first time it was intimidating.
Yeah.
And so you enter, then there is like a common passage, and uske baad there is another big gate. So the prisoners are beyond that big gate. Then we go and sit in a waiting room,
Right.
and the inmate comes and meets the lawyer. So that's called a legal mulaqat, a legal meeting. So it's like that. So yeah, I mean, whatever the person wants to talk about, that, please convey this message to my family. This is their number. Please explain to them how to apply for the 5-minute call. So yeah, I mean, like you feel empathetic also, and you feel like, why? Like, the system should be simple. It should be simpler, easy to understand.
Initially, were you scared, like people who were accused of such heinous crimes, like you had to talk to them?
Honestly, I've just met under trials, and I will not judge them because that is the court's job.
Yeah, that
So
is.
I do not see
Yeah.
them as convicted. So I went with that mindset that, okay, this person is my client. I have these questions, and regardless of whatever the repercussion might be, the case might take 10 years, 5 years, whatever. That is not on me. I am just visiting the person as a client to defend the person.
So do you think that there is scope of the system to change?
If they follow what the Supreme Court says, which I highly doubt, not in the near future. Personal opinion.
Okay. Okay. What are your views on the death penalty?
What are my views on death penalty? So, I believe in tooth for tooth.
Yeah.
So, I do believe in that.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, if the person can be honestly, actually, I will not change my stance.
Yeah.
Tooth for tooth. Yeah. Because you're not hurting one person, you're hurting the family of that person. There are many people who are connected to that person. So once, even rehabilitation, I don't think can completely change the psyche of a person.
In our Indian prison system, what do you think is the philosophy behind it? Is it to punish them, to reform them? Reformation. So that they can get back into the society as a productive member.
Yes, that is why we have things like parole and all. So parole is basically you give them, suppose a person has a child or something, and he can apply for a parole that I want to be out for a few days so that I can, mingle with the society, and I can then come back. But of course, there are conditions that you have to come to the police station and show your face and mark your attendance and everything, and not commit any crime, obviously, in that period of time.
Right. And if your medical condition is deteriorating and things like that, right?
Yeah, but you have the facilities in the jail, like there's hospitals and you get the medicines and all. So that is a good thing that they have doctors and everything. Vaccination is also available, but I think this has become better because of COVID. So I will not lie, that thing is there, of course, that facility is there, but baki to I've told you.
Okay. So, what do you think is the condition of the Tihar jail? Like, I mean, it has been depicted in movies and in articles like people are treated really unfair there, or they are beaten up, or there is no
Yeah,
hygiene, things like that.
I don't know what to say on record,
Yeah.
but it does happen.
Mm.
It does happen. Unfortunately, it does happen. And some inmates don't say it in court when they have their judicial appearance, because at the end of the day, they'll be going back to jail with the same people. So they don't want to, you can say, piss them off.
And the thing also is that most of the people do not care about people who are in jail, even if they're under trials or they're accused, because in their mentality, they think that they have done the thing.
And
Guilty
even what
until
will the
proven
court
innocent.
do? The court will simply write an order, give a warning that I don't, next time this should not happen.
Yeah,
But the person inside is like, bound. The
right.
person knows I will show my face in court. The court will give a warning that please, I mean, not please, like don't resort to such means.
Hmm.
But then the person knows at the end of the day, I will have to go back and stay with these people,
It's
these
an
officials.
institution. You are stuck in it.
You are stuck in it. So, you have to survive in it.
Hmm.
Not like you can do anything about it.
Hmm. Okay. Okay, moving on from the legal system to your own personal life experience. We
Yeah,
recently talked about your struggle with anorexia, like when you were in
yeah.
ninth grade, I believe. So,
Class 9.
class ninth. So, can
Yeah.
you explain what that actually is?
So anorexia nervosa is an eating disorder. It's opposite of bulimia. So in anorexia, you starve yourself. You starve yourself to death, basically. And in bulimia, you binge and purge. So like in bulimia, if I eat a lot and then I myself make myself throw up.
Right.
So that was, yeah.
To
So I
maintain.
had anorexia.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had anorexia.
Yeah.
And I did not have it because I wanted to be stick thin or, be like a model or anything, because I was a plumpy kid in junior school and middle school. So I would say that initially we did not know as to why it was happening, because nobody could have thought, we thought that, okay, it's a growing age, there are hormonal changes, etc. But then after a lot of checkups with some of the best doctors and all, it turned out to be anorexia. The cause was peer pressure. And like when I talk about it, I don't know, I will not say that it was peer pressure, but actually it was that. So somewhere in my subconscious mind, it must have been there, but consciously, if you ask me, I will deny it even today.
Right.
Like if I look back at it, maybe there must have been, but subconsciously hoga, not in my conscious mind. So yeah, I stopped eating and I was hospitalized for about 2 months or so.
Were you also
And
like had pressure from societal expectations to look attractive to the opposite gender, maybe, or things like that?
not society as such, but yeah, like of course, I mean, I was in my puberty age, so of course, like I did have feelings and liked somebody, and that must have added to it. And maybe because I was a plumpy kid, but then again, if you ask me, I personally don't think that was a trigger. But theek hai, there might have been many triggers, and this might have been a major one. but I mean, I still don't believe that ye hoga, but subconsciously ho sakta hai. Anything could have been the
Fat shaming is an issue that comes into anorexia.
I was not obese, so I was not fat shamed.
Okay.
So, like I was not concerned about the weight that I have to look thin or anything.
Okay.
But I don't know honestly why it happened. Multiple factors could have been the reason,
Right.
but it happened.
Right.
So, I was hospitalized and I lost my weight from 55 kg to 22.5.
Right.
So I was on the verge of dying and I was a miracle case. And imagine, even when my weight was 22.5, all my tests were fine. So the doctors were like, how? So it was like, they say bachpan mein acha khaya hua hai and all that. So that helped a lot. And my nerves became very weak because, there was no nutrition, there was no food going inside. So a lot of drips and everything, ye sab laga tha. And I used to throw food. But yeah, I mean, I did not let it affect me. I was not ashamed of it. Some people, they are ashamed of, the fact that they go to a psychiatrist. But I was the opposite. Even then, like that way, I'm a very confident person when it comes to talking about these things. I'm very blunt about it, even that time. So imagine, this happened in ninth. It took 2 years, ninth and 11th. I got psychology as a subject. So there we had to do a project on such things like eating disorder or some topic we had to choose.
Yeah.
And the subject I chose was me. So I was the subject. I gave a presentation on it and I was like applauded for that, that it is very difficult to accept these things, and you yourself were the subject and you gave a presentation on it. And yeah, I mean, today also, like if some friend of mine asks me that, her, like the other day this stuff did happen, that a friend of mine contacted me that, Vedicaa, my friend is facing this, how should I help her? So firstly, I told her, don't say ki eat, because the person will not eat.
They
Just
will be
ask her. Yeah, it's literally like, I'm sad and you're saying don't be sad. And I was like, okay, that is something I've never thought about. So thoughts play an important role. So if you see food, what is the thought that comes to her mind? Why does she not want to eat? So that thing is very important. That is the crucial factor. So if there is a food, like if there is a burger in front of me, a pizza, my favorite thing kept in front of me, why don't, like when I see it, why is my appetite lost? What is the thought that comes to my mind? So talk to her about those thoughts, and then slowly you will get to know what is triggering it. So this is something which you can do as not as a professional, but as a friend. But of course, professional help is needed.
They give medications, I believe, as well, right?
Yeah. I was on a lot of medication that time. And these medicines, they go on for a long period of time because you can't simply stop them. The nerves get used to those medicines.
Right. And a lot of nutrition has also been lost. So you must be on a lot of multivitamins as well, right?
To regain everything. It's like building yourself from scratch again.
So how did you get through it? Like there was a psychiatric counseling, there were medications, and
support from my parents as well. They did not give up on me. Psychiatrist, touchwood, my psychiatrist was very good. He understood the thing, because many psychologists and psychiatrists, they just mint money. Like one of them, initially I went to, that person was like, draw pictures. That is something which you do with a child. Like what thought comes to your mind, and I'm like, I'm in class 10, you expect me to draw pictures and write my thoughts down? Like literally that was not making sense, and that person used to like charge exorbitantly. So then we found out about this doctor. I went to through our family doctor only. And my mother considers him next to God, because he literally gave me another life, like a second life. So yeah, that's how. I mean, you need good friends, I had a friend constantly throughout my situation. She's still my best friend. My parents, doctor, and of course, medication.
So, did your attitude towards food also change during the time?
Yeah, now I'm a foodie.
That is better. That is much better.
Yeah, any day.
Exactly. Okay, so coming back to the legal system, what made you compelled to become a lawyer?
So as I said, I did not want to do law. I was like, I will do anything, but I won't do law. And things changed. So one day I sat with my father.
Yeah.
It's not like he compelled me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could have chosen any field because it was not like कि मुझे यही करना है या ये नहीं करना है. हाँ, ये नहीं करना है was for law. But we wrote the pros and cons.
Yeah.
एक list बनाई हमने. If I do, what are the avenues available abroad in India, etc. And I didn't even take any tuitions and all for law. And my father was like, give it a shot, you never know. And yeah, I gave it a shot and I started studying. I think I bought 2 books and 10 days the. 5 days I read one book, 5 days I read the other book, like that to like a magazine, just glance through it.
Yeah.
तो मुझे मजा आया पढ़ने में. I was like, it was interesting. So, and in law, you have all fields. So it's like an amalgamation of so many fields, like they all play a part some way or the other. So criminology is criminal psychology. So all these things, I was like, this is good. So yeah, my interest developed gradually.
So you were initially interested in psychology as well, right?
Yeah, initially I was interested that I will do psychology only.
Yeah.
But then when I read about law, I read those books, I was like, this is nice. This is nice. This can be done. Let me be a little open-minded.
So like when we talked before, you said you were interested in the topic of nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
So like, can you share your insights on that?
Yeah, I think I told you this before as well. I feel that a child spends a lot of time in school, more than half the day in school, then comes back, tuition. So
Right.
there's hardly any time, with the parents and all. So I think your peers have a lot of influence on you. So that does affect the child's psyche. And the second thing, I think I told that also, that I'm quite attracted to the philosophy of Sigmund Freud. So that is something which is, I would like to read up on it more. Because the last I remember was Oedipus, Electra, and this one, Freudian slip.
Concepts.
Yeah, so that is going to be some other podcast on Freud. So yeah.
To the law aspirants or anyone who's considering to do law as a subject and practice law, like, do you have any advice, or like, don't do it, or like?
Go for it, but choose a college wisely.
But you are still in Amity IP, so.
Yeah, I mean, like, I personally did not like my college life. Multiple reasons again. But the campus was good and initial years were good and all, but don't ever attach a lot of meaning to moot courts. And moot courts are basically mock trials and mock courts. So because in every college they make a very big deal out of it. So people who are a little reserved, who are a little introvert sorts, they feel like, okay, that is an elite circle and I will not be able, because moot court society is one society which is given a lot of importance in all law colleges. So that was something which even I aspired for, I have to be a part of it. But honestly, there are several other avenues. There is trial advocacy, there is mediation competition, so many other things. So don't let that affect you.
Exactly. Okay. So what are the scopes of becoming a lawyer? What all can you do?
So you can either join a corporate firm, you can become a solicitor, you can
What is this?
solicitor.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What is it? I was asking.
Yeah, solicitor does mainly the paperwork, the drafting work.
Okay.
Then you can, of course, become a litigation lawyer. You can
Who goes to
go
the
for your
court and argue?
LLM.
Litigator is the one who argues before the judge, Your Honor.
Yeah. Advocate.
Yeah.
It's called an advocate.
Yeah.
You can go for your LLM. You can become a professor.
Okay.
Then lot of things. You can come on the panel of a company and become a legal advisor. So it's like that.
A lot of law students aspire to be a judge. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
You should. I mean, if you want to study that much to become a judge, then go ahead. Like I have been told by many people, why don't you try judiciary? So I was like, take time. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But right now, I want to practice.
I mean, people are given as much pressure to become a judge if they are doing law. Like, if a normal person wants to apply for UPSC, they are pressured. So
yeah, UPSC. I mean, it's a lot of your routine changes. So this very close friend of mine, he has no social life. He's totally like in his books and everything. First, I think you have prelims, then mains, and all these different interview stage, etc. So these attempts and everything, it's gonna it takes a toll on you unless you're the sorts that you can handle that. So okay, go for it. I mean, if you are able to clear, then of course your life is sorted. If you think you can do it, then go ahead. Why not?
my dad was a judge, and I mean, I think there's a myth that a judge's life is sorted. Like, I saw him come home and he was stressed all the time, like this huge burden to decide someone's life, and cases, and even the salary of a judge is not that great. I think that it's just that it is a
And
government.
you have to be on top of the facts for the next day.
Yeah, exactly. And exactly, like you have to read newspaper every day. He studied for LLM, and then even after that he read magazines, and
So you must have seen, he must be reading case briefs a night before.
exactly.
So that all happens. No, judge's life is also as difficult.
Yeah, so I mean, if a person is like not ready to handle that kind of a pressure, but he's being pressurized or told by his parents to become this judge or something in a government field, your life will get sorted, or do you think they should?
I think don't get into the pressure of your parents.
No.
Take the suggestion, but use your own brain.
I mean, try it like 1 month, 2 months if you can handle it. But
if you think, I mean, even this thing happened with me, but the only thing was there was no compulsion.
Right.
When there is no compulsion, you're like, okay, let me just read through. If there is compulsion, I will have the sword hanging over my head. कि नहीं करना है किसी भी हालत में. So take the suggestion, just try it out. नहीं हो रहा, just say it, because what's the point?
So I think this is your working time, so I won't take much of your time now. Yeah. So let's do this again. It was wonderful having you, and thank you for sharing some of these vulnerable things, and also the things about under trials. That was really empathetic.
Yeah.
So nice having you. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.